So it's the start of the long weekend, and I've been planning for this project for a while now. I've got this GOC Shan Plus model a while back. I was in the market for an 8-string headless guitar, and they just happened to announce this new model, and I've kept it stock pretty much everything. I just did just your standard setup. The strings are from factory, haven't done anything to it. It's got everything you need, and for the price you pay, I think it's very reasonable. Let's talk about specs. So it's a 26 to 28 multi-scale 8-string guitar. It got 24 stainless steel frets, which is nice for the price. I believe it's the roasted maple neck with an ash body. The neck is called the AO neck. It's a GOC own design. It's really comfortable. It's fairly thin. The guitar itself is quite light for a headless guitar. The pickups are GOC own humbuckers. They're okay. We'll talk about them in a bit. The bridge is solid. I've read reviews that the old bridge has some issues, but I've got no issue whatsoever. The tuning is really easy. String height adjustment, intonation is fairly straightforward and easy. And then just 3-way switch and just single volume knob. There's just a couple of things that I want to sort of update, explore as part of this project. One of the things is the pickups. It's good for what they are. It sounds good for low tuning. At the moment, I'm tuned to drop E. Yeah, so it's nice and chunky, but I believe it can be quite muddy, especially when you're tuned low. And when I play sort of nice clean stuff, tends to be quite muddy, which you can fix with EQ, but I sort of want to try and upgrade these so it plays better. So I'm going to put in Lundgren M8, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. And as part of the process, I bought some copper shielding. So it's going to be my first time applying copper shielding, so it's going to be an experiment for me. So yeah, I'm going to try and shield the cavities. Another issue I have is the pickups tend to be a bit noisy. I don't know whether it's electronic issues or the actual pickup itself. I do notice there's a grounding issue, but there's a slight hum. I got the noise gates on, but there's a slight hum that goes away if I touch the string or the bridge. So there's definitely a grounding issue that I'll have to fix when I do the pickup swap. Last things, these are factory string. I believe this must be a 68 or even like a 70, 74, which is okay. But when I tune down to drop E for this low string, I sometimes get pitch drift and a bit flabby. So I want to try and put an 80 or even an 85 to see whether that improves the tension and the stability, what it does to the tuning. So we'll explore that. So yeah, a couple of things I need to do as part of this project. So let's get cracking. All right, I've got my bench set up here. So let's start with removing everything. And yeah, see how I go. The low string is really in there, so it'd be interesting to see how the 85 is going to fit. All right, I've got all the strings out. I remove the pickups and the back plate just to inspect what's going on. So it looks like they have the standard, the shielding paint applied, but so technically I wouldn't need the copper shielding, but I would still go ahead anyway. So I have some practice and see if it helps. There is a bridge shielding cable, so which is good. Yeah, so now I've got my soldering kit set up now. I'll try and remove all the cables and then we'll crack on with the copper shielding. I'll also try and update the volume pot with the push-pull pot so that I can do quad splits. All right, so I got everything off. I've tried and fit the new M8 pickups, and they fit okay. My only issue is the cable, but there's like a little channel for the cable to sit. This one doesn't have, so I think it should be fine because once the pickup raise, it shouldn't be an issue. But let's see how it goes. But now it's time for me to shield the cavities, and this is my first time doing it. And I'm thinking, because I've got this big roll and then 2 smaller size roll, I'm thinking of, because of how the size is, I should be able to just do 1 row, put in, and then just cut off the excess. I think that should be okay. And I got a super sharp blade here as well. I don't really want to cut any of my finish, so let's see how it goes. Okay, so I got the first pickup cavity done. I think it looks pretty good. On to the next one. Okay, excuse the mess, but I've done all the cavities. So this is the electronics cavity, that's all done, and the jack. Sweet, I'm pretty happy with that. And moving on to the pickup installation. Okay, so it's the next day, and I've done a bit of work last night off camera just to prep for today for the soldering. So I've installed the pickup, and I realized something. These pickups are actually thicker than the stock ones. So at the moment, I think they're sitting a bit high, especially on the treble side, because of there's no like a little slot for the cable to sit. So this is actually sitting on the cable. And these are also direct mounted, so I didn't put the foam underneath, because if I put that, that's going to be too high. So I think should be okay. We just have to see once we string it up how it sits, and worst case, I might have to drill a little slot for for the wire to sit, but because I don't really want to route the whole thing to make the pocket deeper. That's a bit of work. So hopefully I can get away with not doing that, but we'll get to that at the end. But today I just want to complete soldering done. So, should be fairly straightforward. I've got the push-pull pod installed, and it just sits flush with the cavity. So okay, let's get started. Okay, a couple of days later, everything is done and sounding like it should be. I did have to lower the pickup cavity just on the treble side for the bridge pickup. As I suspected, the wires were actually pushing the pickups to be higher. So I just used a drill to sort of slot a new channel for the wire to sit in, and then the pickup just sits perfect. So at the moment it's direct mounted, and the pickup's just sitting on the floor of the pickup cavity, and the height is just perfect. So I got pretty lucky there, but the base side and the neck pickup is actually okay. I do have to put the foam just to raise the pickup to the correct height. So yeah, so if you are planning on a pickup swap, just be wary of this and measure your new pickup thickness and just make sure they fit. I got lucky that I don't have to reroute the whole pickup cavity to, lower it. But yeah, something to be aware of. I actually didn't film this, but I spent a couple of days trying out different wiring diagram for the coil split wiring because I was having a little bit of noise, a bit of a hum with the typical coil split diagram. So I'd spent some time trying to troubleshoot and research on how to really get the noise down. And at the end, I found PRS coil split diagram, which is not that different. It's just they just wired things a little bit differently to the three-way pickup selector. And I did find that wiring diagram to be least noisy, and the noise flow was pretty low. And I know it's working well because in the middle position for the coil split, the hum sort of goes away because the single coil canceling each other, which is the way they should be. I mean, with the single coil pickups, every guitar is different. You're always going to get, a little bit of noise, a little bit of EMI noise, and you can't get away with that. And this guitar just happens to pick up a little bit of the EMI noise, but I got the noise flow down pretty well, I reckon. Yeah, and then the noise is just for the single coil first and third position. So you just have to deal with that. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the noise flow improvement with the upgrades I made. And I guess the copper shielding that I did help a little bit with the noise, but I can't say for sure because I didn't really test it. So yeah, now let's hear the comparison between these new M8 pickups to the original GOC pickups. Right, so you can pretty much hear the overall tone with reducing the muddiness, making it more clear, especially in those high gain type of sound. Before I give my opinion, I just wanted to say that there is very minimal pre and post tone shaping EQ in the signal chain. I use the same preset for each pickup, just with some final high pass, low pass EQ, just so you can hear the raw sounds coming out of these pickups. So let's go through the tones. For the clean tone, I think they're very similar. With some EQ, you can get the original pickups to pretty much sound like the M8s. Of course, now that I added the coil split, I got more versatility in my sounds, and I can finally have that single coil middle pickup position, which I really like for these clean tones. Crunch tone is where I think the difference is very audible. The original pickups are a little bit muddy, but still really usable. Again, I could use some EQ for the original pickup to take some muddiness before it hits the amp. But yeah, the M8 clarity really shine in these sort of crunchy tones. And the heavy tone at the end is just rich humbucker pickup only. There's no point testing other position for this sort of sound. Again, I think the improvement is in the clarity of the M8, and it really comes through the distorted tone. Now that you've heard the comparisons, I just wanted to say that the original pickups are still very usable. You just need some tone shaping EQ moves in your signal chain to take the muddiness away, and then I think they'll be sweet. But of course, with the more expensive pickups like the M8, you're always going to get the improvement in your tone and more clarity in your sounds. It was a solid 7 to 8 out of 10 guitar with the original pickups. Now I can say this is a good 9 out of 10 guitar for me, and I'll be using it in my rotation. All in all, I'm pretty happy with how the project turned out. I learned a lot of lessons along the way in terms of modding guitars and wiring diagrams. So yeah, that's it for now. I might do another video with a full mix once I've written something with this. So stay tuned and hit that subscribe button to keep in touch.